Good evening and welcome. I will call the Yakima City Council Business Meeting of October 21st, 2025 to order. We'll start with roll call.
Berg.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Byers.
Present.
Decio.
Here.
Glenn.
Here.
Herrera.
Here.
Roy.
Here.
Thank you. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will have interpreter services. Thank you.
Jorge Villaseñor, Language Connection. Si alguien necesita la ayuda de un intérprete, tenemos los radios y estoy disponible para hacerlo. Gracias.
Gracias. Item 4 is public comment. There will be 35 minutes allotted for public comment this evening, with each person receiving 2.5 minutes. If you wish to make a public comment, please make sure you fill out a form in the lobby and give it to our city clerk. When you come to the podium, introduce yourself and tell us the city where you live. Please remember that state law prohibits electioneering in city facilities. During public comment, speakers cannot campaign for or against candidates or support or oppose any ballot measures in the upcoming election. Okay. The first person I have is Ann Knapp.
Good afternoon. Thank you for letting me make comments. My name is Ann Knapp. I live in the city of Yakima. I support the trolley. I put a handout in front of everybody. It has my speaking points, 14 points, which I may not get through, a list of potential relevant documents, which I have a large stack. I'm sure there are more documents elsewhere. But I support the trolley. I also support public safety, which is a different issue than overall trolley funding. Please remove item J, Natchez River Bridge, from the consent agenda and table action until staff addresses an overriding and overdue safety issue. We need the city of Yakima's damaged and missing fences fixed immediately to prevent people from going on the dangerous Burlington Northern Santa Fe Bridge. And behind the red flag that I gave you is a story about a man who was killed when Burlington Northern Santa Fe train went past. He pushed another woman to safety. So this is a very critical issue, and it resulted in a Utilities and Transportation Commission order to the city and to Yakima Valley Trolleys. We need to build the long-planned walkway on the nearby Natchez River Bridge to allow safe pedestrian crossing and prevent further serious injuries and death. I think a study session is imperative because there are so many significant issues. The City Council, your decision makers, need to have good and accurate information to make many decisions, and I just don't have energy and time to give you all the information. I kind of page through what I can find and try and throw it at you, and I hate coming and talking to you. But my 14 points. The resolution and project description of the grant conflict with public safety order of the Utilities and Transportation Commission by excluding city residents from safe pedestrian and ADA bridge access. In the UTC order, Burlington Northern Santa Fe approved pedestrian use of the city bridge. UTC gave the city funds to mitigate public safety hazards by installing safety fencing to stop pedestrians from accessing the dangerous Burlington Northern Santa Fe Bridge and divert them to a safe place on the city bridge. But public safety is now at risk because the City and Trolley Association have failed to maintain safety fencing, creating potential city liability. I was out there on Sunday. People and a dog were trying to get across the bridges, and I was concerned they would not make it safely, but I didn't think the trolley was running, and I don't know Burlington Northern's schedule. The UTC order on pedestrian diverter is legally binding on the city, BNSF, and the Yakima Valley Trolleys. The city's contract structural engineer designed pedestrian bridge access that exceeds all...
I am so sorry about your 2.5 minutes, Rob.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for presenting us the written material. Next is Paul Edmondson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If it please the council, Madam Manager and Bronson, long time. I just wanted to say a few words on the SEPA issue, which was brought up in September. I don't know if all of you have had a chance to look over the authorities I brought over yesterday and gave to the clerk. But in 54 years of practicing law in Yakima, it's rare to find a case where all the law and all the facts are on one side. This seems to be that case. The essence of what I sent you is that SEPA only applies to new construction, not routine maintenance, which is what we're looking at in the trolley lease. Actually, continued operation with minor maintenance, clearing out weeds in the gap. Interestingly enough, in the Carmody letter you received, there was no mention of the exemptions. Looking back on it, I can't really explain that. Either Mr. Carmody didn't read the exemptions, or he did read them, and he neglected to put them in his letter, because they're dispositive. The Supreme Court has said so in the case cited to you by Mike Shin. So we know what the law is. Leasing of real property for the same existing use is exempt, categorically exempt. It's a false issue. It's a frivolous issue. As attorneys like to say, it's a slam dunk. If you had a chance to read the underlined sections, you'll see what I'm talking about. I wish you the best in deciding this issue, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Edmondson. Next is Ken Johnson.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council and city staff, I'm Ken Johnson, president of Yakima Valley Trolleys. You've heard a lot of negative things from naysayers lately about the trolleys. And from what I've heard, a lot of it has no basis in fact. And I would really like to have the chance to set the record straight on a lot of the things that have been told to you. I think people are trying to make you think that the trolleys are going to cost a lot of money, and that's not true. And so I'm going to be reaching out to each one of you and ask if you'll spend a little bit of time with me one-on-one to discuss this whole issue. I will bring along documentation that shows the trolleys are actually one of the least expensive of the city's assets, contrary to what other people are trying to tell you. I will also bring along documentation from 2 different experts on how to fund the 6th Avenue project without raising any taxes. So please, when you hear from me, I hope you'll have an open mind and a desire to be fair, and I think we can work out something good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Next is Tony Sandoval.
Tony Sandoval, still District 3. Taco Gate was real rough. We got through it for right now. I did hear somebody approach me when I went to a meeting and an incident happened, I would say, on the other side of things. And I would like to thank that person. As people know, respect goes both ways. And I've let this person know that it wasn't right what happened to that person. But I need to know closer to the incident so I could do what I need to do to make things right. I did agree with the person that it was wrong with what had happened to this person. So let me just go on to something I covered in July, which was overtime. Getting a lot of questions about the overtime. Nobody's really said how things are getting controlled as far as the overtime. I'm assuming that that's happening, but I think it's really important that something be said out in the community before, well, the ballots are out, so it would be really important to point out that that's going to get under control, because that's a lot of money that's actually occurring to the city of Yakima. I'll read a couple of them and then I'll just move on. I'll sit down. So I'm here, from my research, it looks like about one person $8,000 overtime, another one $43,000, another person $58,000, another $43,000, and on and on and on. So that adds up. I'm letting people know that something's getting done and to support the city.
Thank you, Mr. Sandoval. Next is Shannon Buckley.
Hi, I'm Shanna Buckles, and just wanted to let you guys know that I really support the trolleys. I'm a mother of 3, and I would really like to see the trolleys continue to return to Sela. I feel like it's a good historical, educational place for children and families to go through in the community to learn about the trolleys and how they work and to ride them. And I just think it's really a fun experience for everyone. And I'm a mother of 3. I'm not sure if I mentioned that or not. I'm kind of nervous. But me and my kids have really enjoyed the trolleys and look forward to going there every year, and would like to continue on with that. And I really support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Buckley. I'm sorry, I mispronounced your name the first time. Buckles, thank you. Next is James Carmody.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. My name's James Carmody. I think I started this discussion in September with a letter that I wrote to council for the city, to Mr. Preston, and to the city manager, raising questions and concerns with respect to certain actions that you were undertaking. So our position isn't really a matter of whether we favor trolleys or not favor trolleys. We're interested in a couple things. Number one is that appropriate process is followed, which involves specifically environmental review. In all due respect to Mr. Edmondson, I did read the rules. I have dealt with SEPA in my life, and the exemptions don't apply. There is not a lease in play. It's an operations agreement coupled with a whole variety of additional points of bridge reconstruction, that sort of thing. In terms of the exemptions that they talked about, the lease isn't an applicable provision. Secondly, there are repair rights that you have that exempt SEPA review, but they don't exempt repair projects that are involving areas over water, the Yakima River or the Natchez River. You don't exempt that for obvious reasons. There's serious environmental impacts associated with that. And then secondly, it applies only to minor repairs. So the exemptions of the SEPA regulations simply aren't applicable. That's why they weren't mentioned. The second point that we wanted to make in the correspondence was we're all facing tough times financially, and there are tough decisions that have to be made. It's not a matter of do I like trolleys or don't I like trolleys, but how and what ways are we going to spend our community's funds and monies. Transportation Benefit District is for a particular purpose. It provides resources to you for not only general transportation issues, but specific projects. I can tell you that I drive home every night and I can give you probably half a dozen ideas as to where that money would be well spent. So it's not a matter at all in terms of not liking trolleys or liking trolleys. It's just we all have different perspectives on where the resources, as limited as they are, should be spent. And we would ask you to proceed with an environmental review And
Carmody, I'm
good
sorry,
luck in your determinations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Mike Shin.
Good evening, and thank you for entertaining me. I've got some handouts, if I may, to give to the clerk. It's a letter I wrote today to city legal and city staff with regard to the SEPA issue on the Yakima Valley trolleys. That's who I've been asked to represent. I'm an attorney with the Halverson firm in Yakima, and I think there are at least 4 categorical exemptions that are available and that should apply. And these are categorical exemptions that are to be determined by the responsible official within the Yakima planning. And so my remarks are as much directed to that responsible official as to the council. But there are 4 categorical exemptions to SEPA review, and I'll just go through them very quickly. Repair, remodeling, and maintenance activities, private or public structures, facilities, or equipment, including utilities, recreation, and transportation facilities, are categorically exempt from SEPA review. The trolley is a recreation and transportation facility, so is its museum. There is a categorical exemption for business and other regulatory licenses. All licenses to operate or engage in amusement devices and rides and entertainment activities is categorically exempt. The renewal or reissuance of a license regulating any present activity or structure so long as no material changes are involved is categorically exempt. A leasing or otherwise authorizing the use of real property when the property use will remain essentially the same as the existing use for the term of the agreement is categorically exempt. And what is it within the operating agreement that affects the environment? Nothing within its terms affects the environment. Things like the trolley bridge is a different animal. And the agreement that I think the council approved last session with Hubert T. Lohman, the engineering and surveying agreement, has specific line items for the SEPA checklist and the assembly of SEPA comments. So SEPA will be handled in that project that crosses water. As Mr. Carmody referenced, that's something where SEPA could be valuable. But let's not use SEPA where it's not meaningful. Let's not create additional procedure where it's not helpful. The Supreme Court in 1997, in a decision authored by Justice Sanders, said, "The entire purpose of the system of categorical exemptions
Mr.
is to
Shannon?
avoid the high transaction costs."
I am so sorry, but your time is up.
Thank you.
And Ben, thank you for providing this material, and we will read it.
Thank you very much.
Next is Tony Corsi.
Anthony Corsi. Where I lay my head is where I'm at. So a person is born, grows up, goes to school, graduates, gets married, they have a child in which grows up, goes to school, graduates. Now, whatever you do, I strongly suggest none of you all answer this question. If a gentleman came in front of councils that were before you and was able to get 3.5 million, get crosswalks, 74 police cars, a fire truck with a ladder, why in the hell does 16th and Fruitvale does not have handicap ramps on that when that project was supposed to be in that area? And I brought this up years ago. Public and private partnership. Understand this. I have water right claim in Sela. You guys looked at the plans. You guys okayed the plans for a developer to come in there and develop and build, in which he decided to do something different, and you guys still allowed him to do it. You guys are the head of the snake. I'd rather cut the head off than ruin the body. That issue's not done. Hi, Your Honor, or your lawyer, or whatever he is, because he was in Sela. Now, the storm drain in Yakima. A developer comes in town, you guys were supposed to pay 50% of it. You don't do that, and you had me pay 100% of it. And you guys, I turned in a letter saying, could you please give me a couple years? I don't have the funds. And what did I get told? No. So I had to do whatever it took, and I got it done because I had a developer come in from out of town to run that business. You guys pay me now money for that storm drain. So, and no wonder why you guys don't want to talk about this or the water right claim. Keep that in mind. I'm going forward with that. And by the way, I did appeal the divorce because you can't turn around and ask for a divorce and then cancel the divorce and then turn around, get it in the garbage can and pick up the papers and start it all over again. So she's got problems.
Thank you, Mr. Corsi. Mr. Beeler, is there anyone on Zoom who wants to speak to council this evening?
No, Mayor, there's not.
Thank you. Then this will end our public comment portion of the meeting, and we'll have, we have any discussion for the good of the order? I don't believe so. Right? We will move into council reports. 6A, if the nominating committee has a report, and Councilman Reedy Berg will get that.
Right, so we met on Thursday, October 9th. It was myself, Mr. Herrera, Mr. Roy, and we were looking at applicants for the Planning Commission. So we did 3 interviews. We interviewed Miss Angie Gerard, Dr. Roy Gondo, and Dr. Tanya Knickerbocker. And Mr. Roy moved and I seconded to recommend Dr. Roy Gondo to the Planning Commission, and that was a unanimous vote. We were also informed of current vacancies and upcoming term expirations for positions on several boards and committees. And the Community Relations Office is going to issue a press release in the near future to try and get applicants to apply. The meeting adjourned at 12:22 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Berg. Does the council have any questions for Councilman Berg?
It's like, wow, that was a long meeting.
We were there for 11 hours.
I believe we need a motion.
I'd move to adopt the nominating committee's recommendations.
Okay.
So we have a motion by Deputy Mayor Brown and a second by Councilman Roy to adopt the committee's recommendations. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you, council, and thank you, nominating committee. We now go into the consent agenda. All items listed are considered routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion without discussion. A council member may request to remove an item from the consent agenda, and if approved, it will be placed on the regular agenda for discussion and consideration. Does any council member wish to remove an item from the consent agenda?
Yes, I'd like to remove J. I'm sorry, J.
Any other requests to council? All right, then clerk, would you read the agenda, please?
Item 7A is approval of minutes from the October 7, 2025 City Council regular meeting and October 14, 2025 study session. Item B is a 2025 third quarter treasury report. Item C is approved payment of disbursements for the period of September 1 through 30, 2025. Item D is a resolution authorizing a contract with Interwest Construction, Inc. for project SC2843 Yakima Arboretum Forest Main Rehabilitation. Item E is a resolution authorizing the City of Yakima to accept the grant and loan agreement from Yakima County Supporting Investment in Economic Development, SEED, Fund to install pedestrian signal improvements in the vicinity of 5 West Mead Avenue for GS Long Company in the City of Yakima. Item F is a resolution authorizing the City of Yakima to enter into a repayment agreement with GS Long to install pedestrian signal improvements in the vicinity of 5 West Mead Avenue, Yakima, Washington. Item G is a resolution authorizing the second lease amendment to lease agreement number 2 with Robert Y. and Joyce McCormick for property located at 3108 West Washington Avenue, Yakima Air Terminal, McAllister Field. Item H is a resolution authorizing acceptance and execution of a grant program agreement with the Washington State Department of Transportation for the South First Street Pavement Rehabilitation Project 2885. Item I is a resolution authorizing acceptance and execution of the grant program agreement with the Washington State Department of Transportation for the Yakima Avenue South Overlay Project 2886. Item K is a resolution authorizing acceptance and execution of a federal carbon reduction program award with Yakima Valley Conference of Governments for the North 16th Avenue Sidewalk Project 2860. Item L is a resolution authorizing acceptance and execution of a federal congestion mitigation and air quality award with Yakima Valley Conference of Governments for the Yakima Alley Paving Project 2859.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
So you have a motion by Deputy Mayor Brown and a second by Councilman Berg to adopt the consent agenda as read, and we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Berg,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Byers,
Yes.
Decio,
Yes.
Glenn,
Yes.
Herrera,
Yes.
Roy.
Yes.
All right, motion passes 7-0 and resolutions are adopted. Thank you, council. Now we'll come back to item J, and you may start.
Yeah, I took it off because we just got this huge amount of information piled on us today that we haven't had a chance to read yet. And so I'm hoping we can put this off a little while we make a decision on some of this stuff. Can this be approved later, or do we have to do it tonight?
So, as I mentioned a couple weeks ago, this is the construction funding for the project that is in design. So, do I have to accept it today? No. I'm not going to do the obligation with WashDOT until after the design's done.
Okay.
So that probably wouldn't happen until probably March anyways. So we do have some time before this has to come before you.
And I thought we were doing aren't we doing a study session on this, or have we decided to do that?
We have none at this point.
Okay. That's what I would recommend, is to do a study session before we go further.
So just to remind you of what I had mentioned last time, so that first grant is for the design, essentially, and then this one is for the construction. If we don't accept this,
No,
then
I'm not saying.
yeah,
we
yeah.
shouldn't.
I just want to remind everybody that that design is now underway, so we're going to be spending that money.
Right.
And I don't know exactly what the repayment requirements would be if we didn't accept
Yeah, and I'm not.
May or may not be.
Suggesting that we don't accept it. I just want to see what it's going to encompass in terms of some of the stuff that we've seen tonight. And, as far as SEPA goes and that sort of thing, because we're hearing different things.
Yeah, this is not related to the SEPA discussion that was before you today, because that discussion, which we will talk about in Department Item D, this is project-specific, and all of my projects go through either NEPA or SEPA.
Okay.
So that is a separate, that's not related to what has been discussed earlier today.
Okay. Well, then I guess,
One of the things that I've been,
Excuse me, I don't think
Oh, I'm
Councilman.
sorry.
It was a
did you-
mid-thought.
well, I guess then, if it's just for the construction, and I do want to see it constructed, but I also want to make sure that it's multimodal, like it was supposed to be to begin with, so that we have pedestrians that can use it.
That cannot happen.
Why is
So in, I believe it was September of '23, the BNSF sent a letter to Scott Schaefer that clearly outlined that we are there by an easement and that they are not allowing any pedestrian path to be put on that bridge. So that, I thought that had been brought before council at one point.
It was.
And so, yeah, pedestrians on that bridge is not going to happen.
Okay, unless we get another letter from them saying that we can, right?
Yes, that would be true.
Okay.
I guess I,
Good luck.
yeah.
You can ask.
Yeah.
All right,
Well, I didn't ask for the letter
I know.
that said no. They just sent it. So,
Okay. Well, in that case, I would just move to include it in the consent agenda then.
I also have some concerns about this.
One moment. We have a motion.
Okay.
Do we have a second? Hearing none. Motion lies where it is. Go ahead.
I've become aware of the fact that there has been significant funds already expended on that bridge over the years. Most recent, well, the one that I was referred to was back in about 2008. But the other question that has been brought to my mind that I think is a very serious issue is the fact that in 1985, there was a court decision that said that the right-of-way was waived for all of the trolley tracks because it went out of existence as a train system. So I would like to move that we instruct the city staff to determine if the easements are still in effect before we proceed with spending any more money on the trolley project. And I would also like to see that we review the money that has already been spent on the trolley so that we can have an idea of how much money has been expended. And, okay, I'm getting too wordy. I started a motion.
It was a big motion.
Those are the two issues I want to have considered. I want to verify that there is a legal operating easement for those tracks to exist, not only on city property, but on private property that is included, and also on the Burlington Northern property. We don't, based on the judgment that I saw from 1985.
Okay, you're making the argument right now. We're waiting for the motion.
Okay.
Thank you.
I move that we hold off on agreement of an operating license pending confirmation of access rights and verification of funds that have already been spent on the bridge.
It's a very interesting motion.
But it doesn't really.
So
it's not
can I
really
just make a
related.
comment here real quick?
Oh, well-
That is really item D on the agenda. That's not this item. This item is specifically whether or not to accept the award for the construction funding. I think we're going to come right back to your motion, but that's really part of item D as opposed to this particular item.
Right.
Okay.
The thing that,
So, excuse me, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second for
What
the
is the motion?
I don't know.
To move ahead with those two items.
Oh, to move ahead?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Move ahead with what?
Well, he's asking for information that's going to actually be discussed later in the agenda.
so at
His
this
motion's
point,
invalid.
Yeah, he can make the motion later.
Well, he can later.
Yeah.
It's really not pertaining to what we're discussing
No,
at the moment,
right.
so.
So there is no motion.
Okay, so motion dies for lack of a second. Thank you. Sorry, we'll come back to it. All right, so we then need to have item J read to the council, please.
The motion that I captured was to include it in consent agenda.
No, item J on the consent agenda,
That was,
because it
that
wasn't.
was DC's, but that
Yeah, it
died
didn't go.
already.
It
Okay.
died.
So item J is a resolution authorizing acceptance and execution of a Federal Transportation Alternatives Program Award with Yakima Valley Conference of Governments for the Natchez River Bridge Repair Trolley Bridge Project 2801.
Thank you. So we'll take a roll call vote, please. It is a resolution.
Wait, is there a motion, though?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did we get a motion on it? We did not.
Well, I moved to begin with to accept it.
Yeah, but it
Okay,
died.
that's.
Yeah, and it died.
Okay. So she just read the motion in its entirety. The process is to read it and then
She read the
a
resolution.
motion on it. Yeah.
There's no motion on the table right now.
Okay, so we need a motion.
This is grant funding.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought
Okay.
we already voted on accepting it last week, but,
Well, it was half
It was
of it.
designed.
oh, okay.
Is it a match grant?
Nope, no match.
Just all,
Just all
okay.
No
grant.
match.
Your money.
Take the money.
Yeah.
That's all I needed to know.
I would like to see us hold off until we know that we have funding to do all of the work that has been requested, because there's no point in fixing the bridge if we're not going to do everything else.
Well, there
That's
is
just my
for
comment that I'm
safety.
making before we vote.
Right.
Yeah.
Are we required to maintain that bridge as it is?
It is our asset,
Well,
yes.
it's
our asset,
dangerous if
which
we
is why
don't
we
fix
moved
it.
ahead
Or
last year.
to maintain it, you might as well, I would just take the money, it's not costing us anything.
Well, that's what I mean. I'd like
That's what
to.
Hanford says too.
But I need a motion.
Madam Mayor,
You want me to repeat my motion?
Madam Mayor, I approve to pass the resolution.
Thank you.
Second.
So we have a motion by Councilman Herrera, a second by Councilman Decio to pass the motion as presented. We'll have a roll call vote because there is a resolution.
Brown,
No.
Byers,
Yes.
Picio,
Yes.
Glenn,
No.
Herrera,
Yes.
Roy,
Yes.
Berg,
No.
All right, there's 4-3 vote and motion passes. Resolution is adopted. Thank you, council.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Preston. All right, we have no public hearings this morning, so we're going to go right into department items. Excuse me, we have no public hearings this evening, so we'll move right ahead into department items. 9A is a resolution to authorize a memorandum of understanding with Jonathan M. Wainwright Memorial VA Medical Center, Walla Walla, in Yakima County Superior Court. Presenting tonight is Captain Janice.
Good evening, council, city manager, and city staff. Tonight with me on this item is Judge Swan from Superior Court, and Diane Goodnight is on Zoom. And then there's a few other supportive cast members in the crowd here. And so what this is,
Judge Swan, would you like to come forward, please?
and I believe Judge Swan and Diane would like to share some comments with the council.
You'll wait? Okay.
And so tonight sums up about 2 years of conversation and work with Walla Walla VA Hospital, Superior Court, and other partners in the community, focusing on veteran outreach once they're in the criminal justice system. As we all know, it's become harder and harder to prosecute people in the criminal justice system for a variety of reasons. So having therapeutic alternatives for those who are amenable to those alternatives is a benefit to all of us, especially those who have honorably served our country. And so I will turn the rest of my time over to Diane and Judge Swan.
Thank you, Captain Janice.
Good evening. Thank you for hearing from us. I am Jeff Swan. I'm with the Yakima County Superior Court. We have been working on a project to have a Veterans Therapeutic Court since 2021. For me personally, this has been something I've been looking at since 2010 before I became a judge. When is the time when thank you for your service is not enough? When we have individuals here in Yakima County who have served our country honorably and then sometimes find their way into our criminal justice system. Oftentimes it's a result of acquired brain injury or traumatic brain injury, PTSD, sexual assault recovery, suicide, grief, and loss. These are often times when folks find themselves in our criminal justice system. And what we have found out through studies nationally and locally and endorsed by our United States Department of Justice is that focusing on veterans treatment courts work. It's a nationally recognized evidence-based treatment program. We will institute best practices according to the Department of Justice. It's about vets helping vets using mentor systems. The latest study indicates that those who participate in a veterans treatment court are 3 times less likely to be rearrested while participating. Our Yakima County Superior Court is seeking to partner with the city, specifically Yakima Police Department, to collect data on veterans in distress, those who become part of our criminal investigation and who are referred for criminal charges to Yakima County Superior Court. This data will help quantify the needs in our community, identify what services are needed, and then help connect those folks, those vets, with appropriate services. Veterans are different. They have different training. They have different backgrounds. They have different resources and benefits that can be used to assist them than anybody else. And when we use mentors, vets helping out vets, it makes all the difference in the world. As part of our project since 2021, we've gone out and visited Benton County Veterans Court. We've gone and visited Kitsap County Veterans Court. There are 10 counties in this state that have a Veterans Therapeutic Court. Our intent is to model it after the National Therapy Court system, evidence-based, holding folks accountable, but also bringing treatment. We're urging this council to approve the resolution for there to be a mutual understanding, share the data, and that allows us then to be able to move the next step forward towards getting a Yakima County Superior Court Veterans Treatment Program. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Swan. Does council have any questions?
I would just like to move to adopt a resolution for the memorandum of understanding for the Jonathan M.
I
W.
wonder if you
Wainwright.
might indulge hearing from our folks from
Absolutely.
the Veterans Administration
Oh, yeah.
first.
Sorry.
Unless there's any questions, I'll step away.
Got a question.
Yes, sir.
So the concern that I have is that our justice system as it's operating right now is, I call it too much like a church. They forgive people and they don't prosecute crime. And I understand veterans do commit crimes, but the justice system is supposed to be meting out justice, and there are a ton of non-government organizations that are involved in helping veterans and that type of thing. How is this not a conflict between your goal or your assignment to administer justice and the need for veterans to have services provided for them?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that question. So again, Yakima County prosecutor, after a referral from law enforcement, they initiate whether or not charges are filed. Then there's a decision of whether or not to refer that to a treatment court, which still holds people accountable for their actions. But rather than simply just getting a conviction and incarcerating somebody, the idea is what can we do with therapy to get a person who is usually stable in a job, usually stable in family or other resources out there, but because of other things that happened to them as a result of their service to this country, they have found themselves in our criminal justice system. And understanding that if we are able to get them the services necessary through a court program where they're being held accountable and being monitored for often for up to a year, that we have success rate of having them no longer involved in our criminal justice system. So my answer to you is, in weighing the risk-benefit analysis, we get a tremendous amount of benefit and almost no risk because they're already involved in being held accountable. We're just looking at doing something a little bit different with them and giving a hand back out to our veterans who've served our country. I hope that answers your question.
Let me say, Judge, I'm sorry, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say that I have been an advocate and a believer in therapeutic courts for a long time. We have several kinds. And when we have those kinds of evidence-based results with lower residual return into any activity across the board, no matter what kind of therapeutic court it is, there's high value in that. And I think we owe that maybe even beyond to our veterans who have already served our country. So I'll be supporting this motion.
And
thank you.
Are all veterans eligible for this, or just ones that have previous like PTSD or?
So at this point, our program would allow all veterans who are eligible for VA benefits, because a lot of what we're doing is through the VA. A lot of these folks, when you look at the studies, when they get involved, very few of them have ever sought out VA benefits. So part of this is, listen, maybe I shouldn't say this at council meeting, a little bit of social working here, but it's again connecting folks with the VA. That's already a resource that's available for them.
Okay.
Let me ask you, Judge, have you had any discussion with Matthew McKay at Multi-Care Memorial?
We have not.
He is.
But that's next on my agenda.
Okay, good. I'd like to talk to him about this because he is the point person advocate for veterans through their services. So.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome. Great guy.
Anything else? I will step aside. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Next up, Diane Goodnight from the Walla Walla Veterans Medical Center. And I believe she's on Zoom.
Oh,
sorry. So I have to apologize. My camera stopped working this afternoon, which was very, very bad timing. So I'm sorry that you can't see me, but can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. So, my name is Diane Goodnight. I am the Veteran Justice Outreach Specialist with the Walla Walla VA. I've been with the VA about 7 years. I've been working Veteran Justice Outreach for about 3 years. And the mission of the Veteran Justice Outreach Program is to find veterans as early as possible in the criminal justice system and get them connected with community services and VA services that support their stability and their success. So our mission aligns really well with the with the Valor program. I'm really excited to be a part of this program. So what I will be doing is helping Yakima Police Department confirm veteran status, and then providing outreach to those veterans so that I can get them connected with VA, through helping with eligibility and enrollment. We have housing programs, we have medical care, we have substance abuse treatment, mental health treatment, employment resources. And all of those programs can really help to, get somebody stably housed, get them off the street, help them to get stabilized, and, keep them out of the criminal justice system. So that is our goal. And I appreciate you guys having me here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, that is it for guests of mine. If there's any other questions that I can answer from the police department perspective, I'd be happy to.
Questions for Captain Janice?
One other question. A lot of the veterans that I've worked with, the biggest argument that I'm hearing is that services, they have in principle the services, but actually getting them. In other words, the system has been so underfunded and that it's very difficult for them to get help. Do we work around this? We're saying, okay, we're going to ask the Veterans Administration to do more when they're currently being criticized mostly for not being there enough already.
Well, a big part is, one, just getting our feet in the pool and kind of understanding the impact of the work. The concept of therapeutic courts is, of course, the carrot and the stick model. We certainly know that these services already exist within the community, but often we don't have that connective piece of the carrot and the stick. And a great example in Yakima County is the drug court. The drug court has incredible success rates because you really have two options: to either be successful in drug court and do all of the steps to graduate, or to serve out your sentence. And so this would be another model court similar to that. And just to give some idea, is not everybody's going to be amenable to a therapeutic court. And so if somebody's accused of a highly violent crime, that's not a person that is going to be amenable to a therapeutic court in many cases. And so these are the lower level, and recidivism, rearrest is the plague of our criminal justice system. And so we know we're spending millions and millions of dollars rearresting people in our community, or attempting to, because we just can't get them out of that loop and that cycle of whatever's going on in their life that's making them toxic in our community. And so this is one more avenue to try and address something that we know we are struggling with.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate all that work.
And my motion still carries.
All
I mean,
right.
still
I'll
applies.
second her motion.
So we have a motion by Councilman Decio, a second by Deputy Mayor Brown, to adopt the resolution of memorandum of understanding. And Clerk, would you read it, please?
This is a resolution authorizing a memorandum of understanding between the City of Yakima, Jonathan M. Wainwright Memorial VA Medical Center, and Yakima County Superior Court for the implementation of the Yakima Valor Notification Program.
We'll take a roll call vote, please.
Byers?
Yes.
Decio?
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
Herrera?
Yes.
Roy?
Yes.
Berg?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
All right. Motion passes 7-0 and resolution is adopted. Thank you, Council. Thank you,
you, guys.
Captain Janice. Anna, you're staying up here again.
Next item as well.
Yes, you are. We're on to item B, which is a resolution authorizing an interlocal agreement with Washington Traffic Safety Commission. And again, Captain Janice is going to present to us.
Thank you. This item is the reimbursable overtime we use for high visibility patrols to enforce speeding, DUI, distracted driving, seatbelt, and other traffic related offenses. All of the funds provided by Washington State Traffic Safety Commission go right to our officers for overtime patrols and are reimbursed and have no impact to our general funds.
Thank you. Any questions for Captain Janice?
Nope.
All right. I would entertain a motion.
Go ahead.
Move to adopt the resolution.
I second.
All right. So I have a motion by Deputy Mayor Brown and a second by Councilman Decio to adopt the resolution. And Clerk, would you read it in full, please?
This is a resolution authorizing an interlocal agreement with Washington Traffic Safety Commission for funding to provide traffic safety emphasis patrols.
Thank you.
Decio?
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
Herrera?
Yes.
Roy?
Yes.
Berg?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Byers?
Yes. Motion passes 7-0 and resolution is adopted. Thank you, Captain Janice. Next is item 9C, which is the city's response to the 2025 Yakima Basin Drought and Future Drought Preparedness Effort. And our Water and Irrigation Manager, Mike Shane, is presenting to council. Hi, Mike.
The man with the water.
With the good water.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. So as you all may be aware, the Yakima Basin and a large portion of the state is currently in a drought. This is now the third year in a row that drought conditions have persisted. With current storage levels in the Yakima Basin's 5 reservoirs, which include Rimrock, Bumping, Coachella, Cachis, and Cle Elum, all at record low levels and currently at 7% total storage capacity, the likelihood of surface water supply shortages in the coming year is a great possibility. It will take significant precipitation and snowpack in the Cascades, which is our 6th reservoir, in the upcoming winter season to help replenish storage for the next year's water season. This year's Department of Ecology curtailment of surface water diversions from the basin rivers is a direct impact of the current drought conditions and low natural flows and reservoir storage levels. On October 3rd, Ecology directed that all surface water diversions be shut down on October 6th and remain off through October 31st. For the city of Yakima's irrigation system, which is fed by the Natchez River, this was just over 1 week earlier than the typical scheduled shutdown of October 15th. This also impacted other private irrigation companies that also provide irrigation water to Yakima citizens. Shutdowns occurred throughout the Yakima Basin, with some providers shutting down well before Ecology's curtailment order. But this also impacted the city's domestic water supply from the Natchez River at our water treatment plant, which can supply up to 20 million gallons per day to the city's customers. Fortunately, the city also has a backup groundwater supply for our domestic water system. Shutting down our surface water supply is not uncommon, with river conditions such as high turbidity, dirty water, or significant freezing temperatures causing us to transition to our groundwater supply. Under certain circumstances, we supply domestic water from both the water treatment plant and groundwater wells simultaneously. This flexibility in providing domestic water for our customers from 2 separate sources allow the city of Yakima to maintain adequate water supplies in most all conditions and situations. During this curtailment order, requests were made from the community, including large users such as city parks and recreation, Yakima School District, and the fire department training operations to cut back and conserve water wherever possible, assuring us that groundwater supplies would be adequate to meet our required demands. One challenge that we do face is the ability to supply domestic water during peak demands, hot summer days, with only our groundwater supply, which currently has a total capacity of just under 14 million gallons a day. To help address this challenge, city leaders over the past 2 decades have worked with the Yakima Basin Integrated Plan Group, the Department of Ecology, and others to establish an aquifer storage and recovery ASR program to provide additional water storage and improve water system reliability, particularly during times of drought. The ASR program involves diverting water from the Natchez River at our water treatment plant during low demand periods during the winter months, treating the water to drinking water standards, delivering the water through the city's distribution system to our groundwater wells, and then injecting or recharging water through the wells into the aquifer, which acts as an additional storage. Groundwater can then be withdrawn at later times for municipal supply purposes. The city began recharge operations in 2015, and in 2017, the Department of Ecology issued a final ASR permit, which currently includes a development schedule that extends through 2036. We continue to work with Ecology to meet all permit and water quality requirements for the ASR operations. To help ensure we continue to meet those requirements, the city was recently chosen to receive a $350,000 grant from the state of Washington through the Yakima Basin Integrated Plan Groundwater Subcommittee. This grant will fund the installation of monitoring equipment to sample and track water quality in our system prior to ASR recharge. We are currently working to develop the final grant agreement and anticipate starting this project in 2026. Currently, we have 2 well sites, Gardner Park and Kissel Park, that are designed to accept ASR recharge, although this does not change our inability to meet the peak demands during the summer months with groundwater supply alone. To address this shortage, 2 additional future ASR groundwater well sites will be required, providing the ability to both store water and also withdraw water to supply our domestic system. With these 2 additional wells, it would give the city full redundancy for their domestic water system, providing supply from either surface water or groundwater wells. Given the current and future anticipated drought conditions, the city is well positioned to continue providing adequate supply of both irrigation and municipal domestic water. In addition to promoting ongoing water conservation efforts, continuing the development of the city's ASR program, including pursuing funding for funding for new ASR wells, sites, and facilities, will play an important role in maintaining an adequate and reliable water supply.
So, Mike, did the grant that we received, will that cover part of the search for new well sites and?
It's just for water quality monitoring
Okay.
and the equipment that is being installed for that.
Do we have any idea where those sites might be?
I think we have general ideas within the city. We don't have any chosen yet.
Very impressive.
Yes.
job.
An amazing job. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So I'm wondering, are we getting to a position where we need to limit the amount of new residences that we allow? And
I don't think we're there yet, no.
how far are we away from something like that? How long would a drought have to
That
continue
would
before that?
be pretty speculative on my part to determine that. We do have a water system plan in place, which is being updated in 2026, 2027, and it will address issues like that on capacity, residential use, commercial use, all of that. Yeah.
No, I just want to say, like, there's a lot of cities, even in Yakima County, that struggle with this water issue. I mean, it's a big problem for a lot of communities across Washington State.
Yeah.
And I just want to commend the years of Yakima forethought to get us to this place to where we're at, because I mean it's not like other cities across the state. It's not even like other cities across Yakima County, for that matter. And so, good job.
Yeah, that's been a decades-long process for sure.
It has been, and I think that our involvement with YBEP has been very beneficial.
Very beneficial.
As well as contributors, as well as working with others, and we've done some amazing work. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next is the city's, I'm sorry, you just did that one. Okay, item 9D, which is the 2024 trolley report presentation for the general fund. Bill Preston, our community development director, will, I'm sorry, Trevor, are you going to do this? Okay, well, you may start, Mr. Martin.
Yeah, so Bill and I were going to kind of tag team this one.
Okay.
And I'm going to do more. I know that there's been a lot of discussion. I'll just introduce myself first. My name is Trevor Martin. I'm the planning manager with the city of Yakima. And I know that there's been a lot of discussion around SEPA tonight. So I'm going to talk a little bit about SEPA, what SEPA is, how we try to make our best interpretations with what we have. So SEPA is a State Environmental Policy Act. It's essentially an application or process that a city goes through for potential project or non-project actions. The Department of Ecology offers a series of guidelines on how to interpret SEPA, when to implement SEPA, but there's a lot of things that function in the gray area. And we've received a lot of information on this, so I'm just going to kind of read a few points here and then go into a little bit more. So WAC 19711, that's where we find most of our SEPA information. Mandates SEPA review for agency actions unless specifically exempted. Licensing and operations agreements may or may not be exempted, depending on their interpretation and where we go from there. A license means any form of written permission given to any person, organization, agency To engage in any activity as required by law or agency rule, a license includes all or part of an agency permit, certificate, approval, registration, charter, plat approvals, rezone, to facilitate a particular proposal. So a license is a large thing. And so that's kind of what we're trying to look at here. RCW 4221C is the enabling statute for SEPA. So that allows the state to move forward with SEPA and considering environmental considerations for decision making. Licensing and operation agreements may authorize activities that affect air, water, land, wildlife, but it also, that land isn't just the natural environment, it's the built environment. It's kids in the street, it's how we use our sidewalks, it's how cars drive down the road. So SEPA covers all of that. It includes a public notice and comment opportunities, allowing stakeholders to weigh in on potential environmental consequences. Again, not just natural, but built, the people environment. Conducting, and then another big one is that conducting a SEPA review is also, it helps the city analyze and realize potential risks that are involved with the project, so we can specifically mitigate those risks or reduce potential risks. So, so going forward here, so as part of SEPA, it defines who the SEPA lead agency is. So we're in the city, you are the jurisdiction of the city of Yakima. The city is the lead agency. We have a SEPA responsible official, which is Mr. Preston behind me. We have other things like neighborhood input. So as part of the SEPA process, we mail out notices to people who may be affected or impacted by a certain project or a certain corridor or certain action or non-project action that the city may be engaged in. In this instance, we have an agency that may be looking to operate the trolley. We know that the trolleys conduct business on certain corridors, which means that there's a certain environmental impact along those corridors from the trolley. So another thing that the SEPA does that that we can look at the scope of an action through a SEPA. So oftentimes SEPAs will define the scope. This is why they're very important with things like plats, that we can look at the scope of a SEPA. So a SEPA will tell us who's in charge of the operations, who fixes something if something were to break, it just kind of tells us what happens. If something were to go sideways, this is what SEPA does. It'll help us define what happens or who we need to contact to get something taken care of. And I mentioned earlier that SEPA helps us mitigate risk. So in moving forward with conducting a SEPA for this project, it looks at potential risks of an appeal or not an appeal. So that's something we look at through this process, and we look at the risks with that. Oftentimes, through conducting a SEPA process, if there is something that's in a gray area, staff, we do the best of our ability to look at what we need to do and determining if SEPA is applicable. If there's a gray area, we oftentimes advocate for SEPA. SEPA is not a punishment. It's a way to make the process clear, clear to the neighbors, clear to the lead agency, clear to SEPA official, clear to our SEPA partners. If something happens with this, what are the other dominoes that are in place with this process? So typically what happens if there's not a SEPA process in place and there's determined to be one later, it could be appealed. If it's appealed to Superior Court will ask us to do a SEPA anyways, setting back the process further, and there might be additional damages on top of that. So oftentimes that's why we ask applicants and people to go through SEPA. And then SEPA process is 14 days, it's 2 weeks. That's what it takes. We get it mailed out 2 weeks and write up our determination. So that's kind of the SEPA process in a nutshell. So I'm
And
going
that can change the scope of how much it's going to cost too, can't it?
potentially throughout a project, yeah. So for this one that we're specifically looking at, there's a lot of moving bits, and I'm not going to talk about a lot of the other parts that have to go on with this project. We're specifically looking at maintenance and operation. That's kind of what I've been honing in on as part of this. But yes, a SEPA process. So if there is, oftentimes there's other projects that'll say if it's a project specific item that abuts natural habitat, over steep slopes, wetlands, or something like that. There may be mitigation factors that we implement, and that is oftentimes like what's called an MDNS, or a mitigated termination of significance, or there's other things to help alleviate maybe some of those concerns that other agencies have, but we give them that opportunity to comment through a SEPA process.
So it's similar to having someone come in and look at your house, inspect it before you move into building.
Right.
Yeah.
It offers assurances. It offers assurances through us to verify a scope, and then it offers assurances to the community as if maybe we know that not everybody is going to come to City Hall to give their opinion. But if we offer them an email address or a phone number to call me, that's a lot easier than coming down to City Hall for some people. So that's oftentimes why we also conduct this.
Any other questions?
So we have the time frame. How much, rough estimate would this cost for this certain project?
For this project, do you want me to answer that?
Go ahead.
Okay, approximately between $2,000 and $3,000. So it'll be our application fee is about $900, and then writing the SEPA, it'll be me. So that's be my time.
Takes you 2 weeks to do that?
Oh yeah, definitely. No, it took like 2 days. But
You're getting the overtime now, right?
Yeah.
So-
And then, I don't know how is that like general fund, or how do we apply or pay for that?
Right now, it's technically not in the budget, but it kind of is in other places. If we were to move forward with it, then the city would fund it.
Divert some money somewhere?
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
All right. That's all I have for SEPA, so.
You may have more questions when I get done doing what
We may.
I'm going to talk about. So, yeah. So thank you, Trevor.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
I got tripped up out in the hall, so,
I've got one question about SEPA. If we said the trolley will be limited to its current area, which is Pine Street, about a 12-block area, and said we're not going to operate the trolleys in any other location than that, would we need a SEPA?
So I'm gonna go ahead and take this one. So again, Trevor mentioned he kind of referred to this as a project, but this is actually a non-project action because we're talking about SEPA on the agreement. Okay, so it's not really related to any of the projects that you heard about during public comment because much of that discussion was around the actual projects that are happening. This is just about whether they can operate and maintain. And so, for all of the reasons that Trevor said to mitigate risk, I don't think it changes anything because we're still operating and maintaining whatever parts of the line that they're going to be on. And we want to give the public the opportunity to comment on that. So it wouldn't really change anything. Okay, so what you had asked me to do last time was to come back with the 2024, where'd it go? The 2024 Yakima Valley Trolleys annual report. And so they provided that to me. And so I have it right here. And what I want to do is I just want to kind of it was in your packet, but I do want to kind of hit some of the highlights because I think it's important for the public to also hear, if they don't get a chance to read it, what some of it was, what they shared. So, they highlighted a lot of the different events and or community partners they have. So, they did a King 5 evening. Of course, they have their Halloween and Santa runs that they've talked about before. There was a Chamber of Commerce after hours event. And then, they do participate in various parades throughout the valley as well. And then, some of their partners include the Children's Village, and then they did a trolley renaissance thing. So they highlight a bunch of that stuff in there. Very good, good stuff. Very, very community oriented things. I did want to mention Vintiques as well as Yakima Specialties, who have come out and done some work out there too. So they pointed out, rightfully, is that they did miss much of the summer season this year, so their numbers that are in here are a little bit down because of the compressor that went out on one of their pieces of equipment, and so it took a while to get that repaired. So right now in here, for 2024, their income was $16,157. And their expenses were $25,324 for a net deficit of $9,166. Now, they have their own funds for operating and maintaining that are not included in the admin costs that we've discussed here from the general fund. So that overrun is covered by their funds, not by the city. They do point out that because of COVID and because of the inability to get to SELA, they estimate roughly $200,000 in lost income over that time period. So that is in here as well.
What time period? 1 year?
No, basically from 2020. Yeah, 2020 on. So primarily this year, the reason for the added expenses were they did a bunch of extra facility and infrastructure work around the buildings and things like that. So in addition to that, they also shared with us the riders. And so for this year, they have 2,548 riders for 2024. They had 2,548 riders. They did point out that 1,600 of them, or give or take, came from the Halloween and Christmas events that they held. However, they did point out that they figured that's about half of what they normally would, and they are estimating that the ridership for 2025 would be 5,000 plus.
Bill, is there any data on people who came as tourists to ride on it?
There's not. So I think at the last one we talked, they shared with us, I brought that.
They give us a percentage, but.
Yeah, and that's all we have.
Okay.
So I don't have anything more data than that. There's a little bit in in this about Facebook posts and who reads it and looks at it and does those kinds of things. They did that's a little more extensively detailed in some of the previous reports. So it's not, and I don't currently have access to all that. That might be available.
So they're saying in the last 5 years, they've had $40,000 loss every single year of lost revenue projection. You said $200,000 in 5 years.
Yes, so that was based on, essentially, if you take the 2019 revenue, which they provided, which was about $45,000, and then you adjust that for inflation, and you carry that all the way out to today, or to 2024, and then you take away from what all revenue they had, there you go. That's how they came up with that. And that chart is in here that kind of details it. I don't remember which page it's on. It's on page 157 of a 20-page document. So, yeah. But that's what it says. So that's the 2024 annual report. So I wanted to share that with you. Now, in addition to that, what's before you today is whether or not to direct me to move forward with the 2026 through 2030 YVT operating and licensing agreement. So we had some conversations around the budget regarding that agreement. And so we met with the trolley folks, and essentially they have agreed to cover the non-essential operating costs that the city is currently covering. So what that means is, what would it cost us to operate this or keep the lights on, right? Just with no operations of the trolley whatsoever. And so give or take, that's power, gas, phone, alarm system, those kinds of things.
Does it include the insurance?
I'm sorry, no. Yeah, it does not include insurance. And so I'm estimating give or take $4 or $5 grand for that. So we would be on the hook for that regardless whether there's an operating agreement or not. And then they had said that they would cover the rest of the operating costs, including the $5,000 a year insurance. So if I move forward with an agreement, that needs to be now edited into the agreement, because the current one that I brought before you back a month ago doesn't include that information, nor does it include the change from 2026 to 30. It still goes back and covers 25, which we're done with. So Trevor and I are here to answer any more questions about this, but essentially where I've landed as the SEPA official is that mitigating those risk items that Trevor shared is it makes sense to me that with the short timeline, that if we are to move forward with the agreement, that I would then do SEPA at the same time. Mm-hmm. So before you today, what I'm asking for is, do you want me to prepare a trolley operating and license agreement for 2026 through 2030 with the finance stipulations?
So the stipulations
December
are
9th.
that the city would cover like the utilities and that sort of thing, and then the trolleys would cover the insurance.
Yes, trolleys would cover the insurance, but they would also cover some of the other
other,
things that our 10,000 would have normally, like promotions. Though that's in there, so they would cover that. And there's some other little minor expenses that they have.
Have you done any calculations at all on what it would cost for the city to keep going with this process of reestablishing the SELA line? That's obviously the elephant in the room. We've got a ton of commitment from, city engineering and other staff and so forth. And I don't think as a city council, we want to spend millions of dollars to reestablish that line. And so that needs to be into the mix some way. What are we going to do about 6th Avenue? Are we just going to forget about it, keep our current operating footprint and limit it to that?
So specifically to answer your question, no, there's been no additional calculations or anything. But there's two different things here, right? You mentioned the capital project stuff. I kind of know how much capital projects cost, or at least the current one is going to be. And as far as this goes, which is specifically related to the operating agreement, the costs moving forward are what we would agree to, right? It's the operating costs to keep the lights on and the gas in there and that kind of thing. So that wouldn't change whether we have them stay with what they're doing now or we make the repairs and they get further access to SELA. If I move forward with the agreement with what they've agreed to, then that doesn't change.
The general fund impact would be
A few thousand.
the utilities.
Yeah, and that's really going to be there regardless whether
Right.
this agreement is in place or not, correct?
Right.
I have a few questions. Do you have any other ridership numbers for the last 5 years or so?
Yes, actually, I do. I looked through these, and so I go back to 2021. That's the farthest back I go from a report. Well, I shouldn't say that. I did find 1988 and 89.
I wasn't even around.
Yeah, I'm not so sure those are relevant anymore. But the ridership for 2021 in their annual report says 2,670. They do cite COVID as a tremendous impact on that.
Mm-hmm.
There were no ridership numbers in 2022, but I don't even know that they were operating essentially, very, very minimally. And then in 2023, the only numbers that I received, or that are in the report, is 1,431, and that was specifically attributed to the Santa run, which was 4 days. So they got that 1,404 days
Okay.
in 2023. And then, as I mentioned, in 2024, it's 2,548.
Okay.
I will point out that in both 21 and 24, they referenced the 5,000 kind of number that they would expect.
In 21 and 24?
Yeah, so in 24, this current report, they say they estimated it, if they hadn't had the breakdowns and whatnot, it'd be about 5,000, and they're estimating 5,000 for 25.
Right, I saw
So,
that.
yeah, so that's kind of the.
And then my second, I might have three, so bear with me here. Do you have the net income for those years as well, 24 through 21?
Yeah, so when you look at their income and expense table, in 2021, they netted a positive $5,100, give or take. In 2022, they had a $3,400 loss. In 23, it was $621 to the good. And then in this year, as you can see from the report, they lost $91.66, so a little over $9,000. So,
Okay.
yeah, so over the 4 years there, it's about a $6,800 net loss. Again, none of that comes from the general fund.
Right.
So we have in excess of 100,000 in cash right now.
That's what it appears in their financial report, yes.
So they could participate more in the cost of operating the system based on that. I mean, what's the point of having the money if it's just sitting there?
If you read their report, there's a lot of work they do on the equipment and the building and other things like that. I think that money is set aside. There were some specific pieces of equipment that money is set aside for. And with the current with the operating agreement, as I have shared with you, there's really not much more they could do. They're taking all the costs.
And I don't have a problem with that agreement that you have mentioned, especially since we don't pay insurance for like the Arboretum or any of the other places that we have business with. So I think it's only fair that they pay the insurance.
You don't have the ridership for 2019, though.
I do not have the ridership for 20. I don't have.
Does anyone?
Was able.
I'm just trying to compare their last good year
So
of revenue to
this might
ridership.
be kind of humorous, but in 1988 and 89, it was about 8,000. So I think, probably somewhere between 5,000 and 8,000 a year seems to be, I'm really projecting there.
When did the line stop going to Sela?
You mean just now?
Like the trolley, yeah.
23.
Was it 23?
I believe it was 23.
Okay.
No, actually, I think it was
No.
20. Was it 22, Ken? It was 23. Okay.
23.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was March.
So I think that, thank you, Mr. Preston, for your assessment. I know that we're not taking action on this tonight, it's just reporting to us, but before, when we talked about it, my thoughts were, we can make the agreement amenable, particularly now that they're offering to pay for the insurance is helpful, for them to operate as they can until a final decision is made. Several years down the road on 6th Avenue, what's going to happen there? That will be the final determining point, but this will give them the flexibility to operate until that point, and the opportunity to possibly raise funds for their portion or part of their portion of 6th Avenue.
Yeah, I would like to see them, if they could be able to pay for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I look at it, some of the things that have been brought up to me as a city councilman is the fact that it's uncertain whether the rights-of-way for the track are complete everywhere. For example, I'd like to know, is Burlington Northern confirming the easement and they're okay with it, and the private property owners where the tracks encroach, are they aware that they don't have to, or has a new right-of-way been established with them? But, you know, that question's been asked, and I don't know that we have an answer. And the other thing that has been demonstrated to me is that there has been millions of dollars spent on that bridge and different things related to both the William O. Douglas Trail and the trolleys. So over the years, this has been a very significant, amount of funds. And so I would like to see us limit that. Let's lock the footprint in where it is right now and just end the discussion. Let's not spend millions of dollars deciding whether we can put a trolley track down 6th Avenue when we rebuild it. There's no reason to do that.
Well, the millions of dollars would be in the rebuilding of that. The funds to repair the bridge are already in place.
Yeah. Maybe we do need a study session later on this whole thing, because we keep getting lots of different information. And it would be nice to have people who know, who.
Can I make a motion right now?
No, I'm going to speak.
No.
So we could do that, but the problem is the timeline of having an operating agreement, which is.
Well, yeah, and I don't mean about the operating agreement. I'm just about some of the other issues, like what you were talking about, and, the whole logistics of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With an operating agreement in place, they can continue to operate right now, and either party can decide to no longer have the agreement, so it can be stopped at any time. I just think it would, I'd like to see the contract move forward, just so they can operate for now. And we can have that discussion in the study session, absolutely. Yeah.
We don't have an operating agreement on our agenda. There's nothing on there.
No?
Correct, that's, right,
So-
all I want is direction. Do I prepare it?
Yes.
Well, we
Yes.
already gave direction at the last meeting when we extended. We said, we extended it to the end of the year, and then we said, come back with whatever it is.
Right.
So you're coming back with some new information, which is great, but I don't know what else you need from us, because there's no action and the community has no idea.
So, I'm sorry, then maybe that was, I wasn't clear then. The issue is that it expires on December 31st, right? Their current agreement, which is an extension of the previous 5 years. So we've gone all the way through 25 with that, those extensions. The problem is the last meeting you guys have is December 9th.
Right.
And so if I don't bring it on December 9th, then there will be a lapse in coverage or a lapse in service until I bring a new one to you. And so, based on all the discussion, I was under the assumption that you wanted to have this conversation before I brought that to you, because you had the questions about SEPA, whether we were going to do that or not. And
I got
so
you.
So the
that's how I got here.
Yeah.
Understood.
Can I make my motion now?
What is your motion?
As long as you're not.
I move that we prepare the documents for an operating agreement based on the current footprint and based on the idea that the city will not provide any additional funding to the trolley system, that they will use their own funds to operate with.
motion dies for lack of a second. Do we have another motion?
I move that we accept the plan that Bill presented to us, where we will go ahead and do the utility type payments, and they will take care of the rest of the maintenance and the insurance.
So we are directing Mr. Preston to come back with an operating agreement with those changes in it?
Just a little bit of food for thought here. So when you say current footprint, the trolley system is a National Historic District. It's a very large footprint, technically. It extends from Wiley City up to Sela. So there's something just to think about.
Probably
Big-
more than you
big
thought.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the current operating. They have the operation on Pine Street for about a 12-block area, so you got a mile in and mile back. I want to limit it to that footprint. That was my proposal.
The motion died for lack of a second, so we have a second motion on the floor to direct Mr. Preston to come back to the city council with a new operating agreement with the differences we talked about this evening.
Does that include a SEPA?
If it's necessary.
Yes, as a SEPA official, I will be doing a SEPA. Yes.
Well, it's actually the function of staff to decide whether or not there's a need for a CEPA, so.
Yeah.
Say your motion one more time.
Okay. I would like to direct staff, Mr. Preston, to come back to the next meeting, or how soon?
I need to get through SEPA,
Yeah.
so I'm shooting for December 9th.
Okay, December
That's the-
9th, the new operating agreement for the trolley that we've talked about today.
A second.
Thank you. That was you?
Yeah.
Thank you. My head was turned away, sorry. So we have a motion by Councilman DCO and a second by Councilman Roy to direct Mr. Preston to return to the council with an agreement, an operating agreement on the December 9th business meeting of the council. Thank you. All of those in favor, please say aye.
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 Sure.
Any opposed? So we have 5 for, 2 against, motion passes. Thank you, council. Lots of great discussion around everything tonight. All right.
Thank you.
That brings us to our, thank you, Mr. President, thank you, Mr. Martin. That brings us to our city manager update.
And that's just.
Good evening, council. I'll just be very quick. I just want to call out the fact that tonight's agenda is just a great example, another one of our amazing staff here. There's about $12 million worth of grants from state and federal, YVCOG, a lot of different sources. This is great work by our team, so I just wanted to call attention to that. Great news. And I also want to say how impressive it is and why it's important to recognize Mike Shane like you did, because we're in a great position as a city because of all of those years of planning. And it gives our residents and businesses some certainty that other communities won't have. So I commend him and Scott and his whole team for doing such great work, getting us in great shape for the future and planning for the next phase with those future aquifer recharging areas.
I want to make 2 comments, if I may. First of all, I'm going to agree with you. I worked with David Brown when he was still with the city doing what Shane is doing now, and Shane was working with him, and then he stepped right in as soon as Dave retired. There's been tremendous thought, planning, work into making sure that the city and in conjunction with YBEP, other areas, have the water resources we need and still provide the high-quality water that Yakima has, because I absolutely love it. So the second thing is, I say this often, but I have to commend our staff. So many cities and organizations have a person who is designated to write for grant funds. We do not have a grant writer. We have people that work very hard in every department we have to provide that kind of income into our city. $12 million is a very significant amount of grants coming into our city. And that was just on tonight's agenda. We've had many others over the course of time. So I just want to commend our staff and thank them for all their diligent work.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other comments by council?
I have a question for Bronson, actually. So we made a motion on the operating agreement on the trolley, but that was not on our agenda.
You made a motion to direct staff to bring back an operating agreement.
Right.
Right, but it's not on our agenda. So like the agenda item is trolley report presentation. The motion could have been made under other business.
Other business.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. I'm just, for clarity and rules and all of those things, I'm
Yeah.
more so just trying to make sure we do it correctly.
Actually, we could have directed staff without a motion. We could have just made a
Just said it, yeah,
consensus to
just-
direct
yeah,
staff
right.
to do that.
I think this is addressed in the council rules. I think you're okay with making the motion that you made for the action that was taken.
Thank you. Thank you for checking that.
That's all I have.
Any other business by council? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
When is the next meeting?
November.
It's not till November.
Okay. All right, Madam Mayor, I move to adjourn to our next city council regular meeting on Monday. So you guys know, Monday, November 3rd, here at City Hall at 5:30 PM.
Second.
So we have a motion by Deputy Mayor Brown and a second by Councilman Berg to adjourn to the next city council regular meeting on Monday, November the 3rd, 2025, 5:30 PM here at City Council. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Then we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.